And I want to start today. Normally, it's a recap. Normally, it's a breakdown of the action from last night. Normally, this would be where we would talk about the Diamondbacks. Not today. We're going to do something a little different today because today's Daily Special is all about expectations and disappointment.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
The last basketball season for the Phoenix Suns was a disappointment. This baseball season for the Arizona Diamondbacks has been a disappointment. Not just because of the results, but because of the expectations that were put on both of those teams. Your level of disappointment in the way a sports season goes is a direct reflection of the expectations that you put on said season. I had a good friend very early on in my career. We were working together, and he shared a quote with me, and I don't know where he got it from, but it stuck with me since I heard him say it. Expectations minus reality equals disappointment. You set expectations for a ball club, a football team, a basketball squad, and then reality happens. The season plays out. Those expectations, minus the reality of the way the season progressed, will determine how disappointed you are at the end. If you don't set super high expectations on a team, and the reality is that they're a good baseball team, a good basketball team, a playoff-bound football team, there's no disappointment. There's anything but disappointment. But if you think a baseball team's going to be able to keep pace with the Los Angeles Dodgers, if you think a baseball team's going to be able to win 90-plus games and be buyers at the deadline, and instead sold off all of their major pieces, and we're left wondering what the next 2 months are going to look like, yeah, you're very disappointed. So why am I starting with that today? Because yesterday on the program, I said something, I put a take out there, and I want to follow up on it today. Because yesterday I said that if Matt Stafford is dealing with this back thing all season, if it is not a guarantee that he's going to be able to play 17 games for the Los Angeles Rams, and we learned yesterday that he had an epidural for that back injury. Now, the expectation is that he is going to practice here at some point this week, but it's been 2 months since he's done anything on the field for the Los Angeles Rams. And I said that if you can't count on Matt Stafford, then the door is wide open. The door kicked off its hinges for the Arizona Cardinals to be able to win the NFC West. I want to take it a step further today. I want to set myself up to be disappointed because we can't get to the reality part of this season yet until week 1 gets there, but we can set the expectation part of this formula. And I'm setting the expectations higher than maybe some of you are comfortable setting them at. So I am opening myself up today. I'm letting you know that I am prepared to be disappointed. I am setting myself up to maybe be more disappointed in this football team than you are. Because I'm setting the expectations on this team to win the NFC West. I am setting the expectation on this football squad, who all we've talked about all offseason long is how stable of an organization they've been, how there's continuity on their offense. There's continuity in their coaching staff. They've beefed up the defensive side of the ball. There's talent all over the field. The first depth chart gets released yesterday or 2 days ago, and there's no holes. Everything's where it should be. The stability of the organization is there. So what comes with that? What comes with all of those things? You betcha, a ton of expectations. Don't shy away from setting expectations on this football team. This GM and this head coach were brought here for this specific moment. This GM, this coach were brought here and put together a plan, put together a formula that has played out over the previous 2 seasons, I think exactly how they designed it. Year 1 to be a cleanup year, year 2 to get the arrow trending upward, and for year 3 to be the breakthrough. Well, then if year 3 is going to be the breakthrough, then I'm going to set those expectations accordingly. And I'm going to set the sights. I am going to set the expectations higher than they've been in what? The last half decade? Maybe longer? This team has a golden chance, a golden opportunity to not only make the playoffs, but to win this division and host a home playoff game. There is no reason to think that they can't do that. We're going to start today here on the program. It's how we're going to open hour number 2. We're going to spend the next couple of weeks each day on the show. We're going to power rank where each team stands at different position groups. We're going to rank them 1 through 4. You want to be number 1. You don't want to be number 4. And it's just going to be like golf. You're going to get, if you're the team ranked number 1, you're going to get 1 point. If you're the team ranked 4th, you're going to get 4 points. Lowest score wins. We're going to do the exercise. And at the end, everybody's going to have a number. And that's going to be the way we think the NFC West stacks up on paper right now. I don't know where we're going to be when we get to that point. I don't know what the numbers are going to look like. I haven't thought that far ahead. But my guess right now is we're going to be very surprised with where we put the Cardinals because none of these other teams instill fear in me in the NFC West. None of these teams feel like they're going to run away with the NFC West. So if nobody scares me, if nobody's going to run away with it, why can't it be the Arizona Cardinals? And I know it is a prove-it year for many. It is a breakthrough year for many. And some of you out there today probably don't want to jump into the deep end of the pool with me because you don't want that disappointment that I mentioned at the top of the show. You don't want to set the expectations high because you've seen this story before and it ends in disappointment. I'm asking you today to potentially jump into that deep end of the pool with me and set the expectations for this extremely talented football team, this extremely well-coached football team, this football team that should be playing meaningful football games in December, meaningful football games in January, and yes, hosting a home playoff game when the postseason rolls around. Expectations minus reality equal disappointment. Sign me up for potentially to be massively disappointed. That's how strong I believe in this team. That's how talented this team is defensively. That's how talented I think this team is offensively. Room for growth from last year? Absolutely. If they don't grow, guess what? I'm setting myself up for disappointment. I am setting myself up to feel like we all felt a couple of weeks ago when Josh Naylor got traded to Seattle. How we all felt last week when Merrill Kelly got traded to Texas. When Eugenio Suarez was traded to Seattle. How we all felt when the trade deadline rolled around in the NBA and we all looked at each other and realized the Suns aren't even going to make the play-in tournament. We don't have to look far to see that when you set the wrong expectations or you set super high expectations, how it ends in disappointment. But do you want the flip side? Do you want the flip side of not having any expectations going into the season and reality creating something that you didn't expect, something that you just hopped on board with and you got to enjoy the ride? The Arizona State football season from a year ago. An Arizona State team that you didn't put expectations of going to the Big 12 championship. You didn't put expectations of them winning the Big 12. You didn't have expectations of them going to the college football playoff, almost beating Texas in the college football playoff. So even though they lost, even though they didn't make it to the next round of the college football playoff, you couldn't help but have been proud and excited to have been on that journey because there were no expectations.
But use them as an example, right? There was no expectations last year. Now they're going in. Coaches poll comes out, they're 11th in the country. It's now they have to be good.
I'm worried about you, producer Evan. You sound like the ice cream really got to you.
Yeah, it did.
You sound now. It's funny because the first thing you said to me this morning when you walked into the building, you're like, "I feel so much better, but I just don't have a voice."
I sound horrible.
You sound like you have a disease that you're going to spread to the entire building.
It really does sound like that.
It sounds like you're going through it today. So I honestly, when you turned the microphone on, I did not anticipate you joining the program today with how terrible that you sounded in the morning meeting. I thought you were going to rest your voice. So just monitor it, because I don't want you losing it for the rest of the week. It's Wednesday.
Well, I figured, if I take my breaks here, I got to get through buy or sell. We got a list in hour number 2.
Right, that's
we
what
got
I'm
leftovers.
saying. Pace yourself. Not here in segment number 1. You don't need to be providing the super hot takes in segment number 1. You've got a lot of work that you got to do later on in the program. There are so many people out there that are concerned, probably for me, with the way that you sound. But you said to me this morning that you feel better.
I do. I feel better.
Yesterday, you did not feel great.
No, I felt horrible.
Today, turning a corner. But that's part of this job that sometimes can be frustrating, is that when you're sick, it doesn't matter necessarily how you feel.
It's how I sound.
It's how you sound. And if you sound sick, even though you're not actually sick, the whole thing just kind of crumbles.
I feel like I am definitely turning a corner in this thing. Last night was probably the best sleep I got in a little bit.
Okay.
But I woke up this morning and immediately was like, I'm going to sound really bad.
We'll fight through it. We'll fight through it for the next 2 hours here on the program. I didn't hear anything that you said. I think you mentioned that ASU was like 11th in the coaches poll or something.
I did. All I said was, use ASU as kind of the description of last year they had no expectations. Similar to the Cardinals. The Cardinals didn't make the noise that ASU made, but now ASU has kind of ramped up their process to have these massive expectations. Why aren't the Cardinals in the same boat?
Yeah, and it's the reason why we say all the time with ASU, you got to win, because the expectations are being attached to you. And if the reality doesn't match those expectations, that's where the disappointment rolls in. And again, ASU had way more success last year than the Cardinals did, but the Cardinals came out of their bye 6-4 in prime position to win the NFC West, go to the postseason, host the home playoff game, and they failed. Now, it doesn't make the whole season a failure, because again, the expectations when we started the season were, hey, can you play meaningful competitive games in the second half of the season? And they did that. They checked that box. I'm upping the bet. I'm upping the ante. I'm raising the stakes. Now the expectations are, you got to make the playoffs. The expectations are, you should win this division. That's how open I think this division is. And now maybe when we do the exercise here over the next couple of weeks, my mind will be changed by going position by position and ranking all of these teams. But right now, I don't see why you can't set the expectation today as, the Cardinals should be battling for the division. They should be in the mix to win this division. And they can win this division. The Rams, question marks at quarterback. 49ers, question marks all over the place. Seattle, I'm still not sold on Seattle in year 2. I don't think the quarterback decision that they made to go to Sam Darnold is going to work out. So that's why I'm setting the expectations where I'm setting them for this squad. And I am willing to be disappointed. Because at some point, a franchise, a program in ASU's case, they move into this next tier where they have a run of success, right? Where the expectations need to be sky high. What is the expectation in Kansas City every single year? It's to win a championship. When Tom Brady was at his peak, when he got there, the New England Patriots were not the standard bearer of football. They were not the dynasty that we ended up seeing. But over time, Brady and the way that they played and the results that they put in set the bar high to where it is Super Bowl or bust. And so when you lose in the first round of the AFC playoffs or you lose in the AFC championship game, you get bounced in the postseason. Yes, that season then becomes a disappointment. The Cardinals are not there yet, but that's the place they want to be, where you are constantly setting the expectations high. You're the New York Yankees. Every year it's, we are supposed to win a World Series. That's where you want to embrace that greatness. You got to get there. Well, the first step is embracing a year like this and saying, go make the playoffs. Go win the division. That's what you're supposed to do.